Hey again. If you're one of the subscribers who's been doing this course with me, then we're up to chords now. And we dealt with all the notes, then we dealt with getting the notes in a major scale. Now we're going to look at creating your own chords. If you've just landed across this from somewhere, like a YouTube suggestion or whatever, I heartily recommend going back and watching at least the last one, lesson 2. I'll put a link in the description below. Not sure where you're at musically, but if music is very new to you and you're not even really sure what notes are, then go all the way back to lesson 1. But a lot of people know the notes of music, so maybe that's not where you're at. And lesson 2 is a good place for you to start. But I really recommend it. I don't do content for the sake of content. Everything I put up, I really try to teach people something or demonstrate something with an app demo. So I really think the last lesson will be very valuable for you. In fact, pretty much necessary for you to understand this lesson, unless you've already got a pretty good grasp on the notes in the major scale and why they exist. Now, for those who are following along, who've done lesson 1 and 2, you remember last time I got you to solo, create a melody, all that type of thing. And I just threw a chord progression down and demonstrated over it and then put it up on a separate YouTube clip for you to practice over. Now you're going to learn how to create your own chord progressions. So what that means is you'll be able to write the chords and you'll be able to write the melody, which can be a singing line or a Satriani-esque instrumental guitar line. Or you can solo all over your own chords, which is getting devastatingly close to writing your own song. In fact, that's going to be the next video, which I'm pretty excited about, is writing a song from scratch, showing you how it's done with all that we've done so far. And then you can go away and start writing your own songs. It's pretty cool. So let's get into chords. Okay, so we did the notes and we understood that to be in key, you've got to play the same notes that everyone else is using. So think of it like this. That do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that's a pool of notes. So whoever's playing the chords can only use those notes. Whoever's singing can only use those notes. Whoever's playing a solo can only use those notes. So a chord is a collection of notes hit at the same time. I'm going to demonstrate this again on the keyboard in a minute. A chord is a group of notes hit at the same time. So if you get, say, 3 notes out of that scale, hit them at the same time, you're still only playing notes out of that scale, so you're playing chords in key. And then as long as everyone is singing with that same collection of notes and soloing with that same collection of notes and bassing with that same collection of notes, everybody's in key and happy days. So first of all, a concept to understand. Last time I mentioned what a root note was. So if you're going to play a scale, the root note is the note of the scale. Sounds incredibly cryptic, but let me explain. If you're going to play an A major scale, the root note is the note A. If you're going to play a D major scale, a root note is the note D. E major scale, root note is the note E. You get the idea. In fact, all scales and chords, no matter how complex, are just built upon a root note. So let me explain. An A major scale is just adding notes to an A note. An A major chord is adding notes to an A note and hitting them all at the same time. An A7 sharp 9 chord, guess what the root note is? It's A. You're just adding notes to an A. An A Phrygian mode, guess what the root note is? A. So this is my point. When you see the alphabetical note named, whether it's a chord or a super complex Malmsteen-esque scale or what have you, the root note is the alphabetically named note. So all you're doing is building on that note with a chord that you hit all at the same time, or building on that note with a scale that you hit separately, but it's all still built upon that one note. So if you remember that, we're going to jump to the keyboard now. It's the easiest way to describe this. But I have a new sing-along song. We started off in lesson 1 with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Not too hard, that one. Then we went tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Okay, to get our notes in the major scale. Now to get our chords in the major scale, we have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor flat 5. That last one, forget about it for the moment. You're unlikely to come across that in a lot of the music you're playing. It's got a slightly jazzy sound, so just don't worry about that, but I'll keep saying it for the sake of it. It's major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor flat 5. Those are your chords in the key. How that comes about will be a mystery to you right now. We're going to jump on the keyboard and demonstrate this a whole lot better. Now, if you remember last time, the tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, all of that. Let's get the major scales. Let's pick the key of C. There's method to my madness. C is a very visually easy key to see this stuff on a keyboard because there's no black notes. It's all just white. So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Like that. Do, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's your collection of notes in the key. And if you remember, they keep going up the octave. So really, that's the notes in C. Now, to get your chords, you start on each note of the scale, and then you go up 2 notes, then another 2 notes within the scale. So what I mean is you're limited to these notes. So forget about tone, tone, semitone and all that. You simply are limited to those notes. So there's C, go up 2 notes in C, and then go up another 2 notes in C, and hit the 3 of those at the same time. That's a C major chord. Now I'm going to explain the physicality of getting this going before I get into music theory of explaining why it is the case. But it's very simple. From each note in the scale, you go up 2 notes, then another 2 notes. Remember, that's within the scale, not 2 notes through every note, but if the scale is, then up 2 from this is, and up another 2 is that. Now, the thing that makes the key of C easy is to do that, you just keep that shape the way it is. So then when you go to D, same, E, same, F, same, G, same, A, same, B, same, C, same. That's why I chose C first. You can just actually keep that one shape like that and play all the chords. Now these chords all have different names. This is like C major, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B minor flat 5, C. I'm not going to explain how those names come about in this lesson because this is all, I'm keeping this very much on a need-to-know basis so you don't get confused. It's just getting used to each little bit and then the next little bit of mystery will unravel. So for the moment, all you have to remember is for each note in the scale, you add 2 more notes. The first one is 2 notes within the scale above it. The next one is 2 more notes within the scale above it. So if you're going to play D, a D note, still in C major, but you're playing the D note, you go up 2, like that. So now I'm not going to leave you nameless with those chords. So I'm going to explain the names in a second. But this is where the major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor flat 5 thing comes in. So remember your root note is C, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B minor flat 5, C. And that gives you your chords in C. Let's pick another key. Let's go with G. I'm going to stick to the simpler keys. I'm not going to pick something that has multiple flats and multiple sharps and all that sort of thing in it. So I'm just going to stick with a simple key. G, if you remember, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, has an F sharp in it. The rest are white keys. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So we're just going to get our G and we're going to go up 2 in the scale above it. So then we're going to go up 2 more above it. Like that. There's our G. Start on the next note in the scale, A, go up 2 above it to that one. Then B. Now we've got the F sharp in there. Back to G. So now without all the skip steps, G, up to, then up to, A, up to, B, up to, C, up to, D, up to, E, up to, F sharp, up to, G, up to. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to visualize by looking at this that we have not changed the notes we're using. The only notes we use to create those chords, like that, are the major scale. We've just built a chord upon each note of that scale, keeping the notes within the scale. So, bit of melody with the chords, all works fine. Okay, I'm going to cross back now and explain this in a little bit more detail. Hopefully that sort of demonstrated to you where these chords come from. I have some important information to share with you. Information that will make you sound impressive at parties and online. When you jump on forums and you start chatting with people and that sort of thing. This is so classy and important that I've got a wine glass of orange juice and I've raided my wife's wardrobe for something that looks a little bit inner city, a little bit classy, perhaps even pretentious. The major scale you've learnt so far is a mode. Have you ever heard of modes? People love to drop them. They go, oh yes, I like using a Phrygian mode, I'm using a Mixolydian mode, all that sort of thing. Those things have their place and we'll get to them. And they all are part of music theory, but you can name drop already. The straightforward major scale that you've learnt so far is also known as the Ionian mode. So next time you're online and you're trying to impress someone with your skills and your knowledge, tell them you like to jam in the Ionian mode. It has a buoyant, positive feeling that lifts the playing of those around you, and you really enjoy its optimistic outlook in its melodic future. I know, you can make up the words. The major scale sounds pretty, it sounds nice, but it's also called the Ionian mode. So you now know your first mode. Use it to your social advantage. This is a point where a lot of people get confused. You've seen all the notes, you've seen how they fit into keys. Now you've got this jump thing to get the chords. Yeah, a lot of people at this point get confused. So we're going to lay it all out from the beginning on the bottom of the screen here. Someone has walked in and said to you, we're going to jam in the key of C in half an hour. Be ready. Okay, so what do you do? Well, first of all, you go, okay, let's not panic. Let's write out all the notes in music from C to C again. So put them on the screen here. Actually, they'll go this way. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, etc. all the way up to C. Okay, now let's use our tone, semitone to eliminate all the notes that aren't in C. And now you should just have in blue there all the notes in C. Good start. You've got the notes in C. Now, the chords in C. Okay, from each one of those notes is going to be the root note of a chord. Remember what a root note is? We're going to have a C something chord, a D something chord, an E something chord, an F something chord, G, A, B, etc., etc. So do not think or care at this point about chord names. I'm doing this on a need-to-know dribble feed basis so you don't get confused. Because if you get all of the understanding in your head at once, you'll sit there staring at a blank page and just think. So don't worry about names for the moment. But each one of those notes, we're going to create a chord by playing it and 2 notes above it in the scale, and another 2 notes above it. So C, E, and G. Play those together. Boom. That's a C something chord. You know it's in the key because it's only used the notes out of the C scale. It hasn't used any others, so you are in key. Then start with the D. The D becomes a root note. Go up 2, go up another 2, boom. That's a D something chord, and it's in key, in the key of C, because it's only used notes out of the C scale. So let's do the same for E, E, G, B, dong. Do the same for F, F, A, C, bong. Do the same for G, G, B, D. Do the same for A, C, E. Do the same for B, B, D, F. Then you're back to C. So what you have now is you have the notes in C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, back to C. And you have the chords in C, which at this point we've called a C something chord, a D something chord, an E something chord, an F something, a G something, an A something, a B something chord. Okay, cool, you're almost there. Now, something is not a great name for a chord. So let's give them their actual names. The chords you've just played are C major, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B minor flat 5, that's our forget about it for now chord, and back to C. So once again, C. Now, something to get used to at this point, the word major is optional. If someone says play a C, they mean a C major chord. They say play a C scale, they mean a C major scale. Major is an optional word to use. If something's minor, you have to use the word, but major is the optional. So when I say play a C chord, that means exactly the same thing as play a C major chord. So the chords you have here are C major, or just C, D minor, E minor, F major, or just F, G major, or just G, A minor, B minor flat 5, C. Those are the names of the chords in C. Now, the reason I got you to chant that little thing, as I love to do at the beginning of the lesson, where I said major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, flat 5, that sort of thing, that's because no matter what key you do this to, that is going to be the name of the chords that come out. Music is like algebra. A plus B equals C. It doesn't matter what you put into these formulas, what key you put into it, the same result comes out every time. So let's try this now with the key of A. I have to visualize these sharps in my head, so forgive me if I get one wrong. But once again, wipe the board. Let's go. Starting with A, all notes in music up to A again, like that. Okay. Let's now do the tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone to pull out all the notes that aren't in A. And now we're left with our blue notes here, the notes in the A major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do in A. Okay, we've got our notes. Woohoo, we're all ready to solo. But what if you're doing the chords? Okay, once again, start with a root note on A, jump to. So A, C sharp, E. That's an A something chord, all in the key, as you can see, because we're only using those notes. B, I have to visualize this, B, D, F sharp, going up 2, that's a B minor chord. C sharp, E, G sharp. Then you see how it's going, D, F sharp, A, E, G sharp, B, F sharp, A, C sharp, G sharp, B, I have to think this one out, G sharp, B, D sharp, I think, without seeing a keyboard or a guitar, but you'll see it on the screen here. And then back to A. So one thing you notice is as you get the chords closer to the top, you have to go up into the next octave. Because once we're sitting around G sharp, one note below the A, we can't see what notes are in those chords unless we extend it out up the octave like that. So those are the chords in A. And now what you have just come up with, remember the formula, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, flat 5, and it's just the naming convention. You've played all the right chords, it's just the naming convention. So A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D or D major, E or E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor flat 5, A. Once again, it's no coincidence, just like C, that getting all those chords like that became major, minor, minor, major, major, minor flat 5. All you need to know at this point, if you're going to have your jam, is how to get those chords. So say we'll go back to C, get rid of all of these sharps, go back to C. You've got your C major scale. If you're playing a melody, a bass line, singing, doing a solo, or if you are getting experimental in between chords, if you're up to that sort of thing, you've got your C major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If you're in charge of doing the chords now, you've got your collection of chords. So you are ready to jam in C. If you need a bit of help with strumming, I have another strumming video up that I'll put a link to down below that seems to be quite successful at this point. I think a lot of people are getting a lot out of it. So it's probably a good thing for you to watch if you go, okay, I've got my chords, but how do I strum them? But first of all, you're probably weary about just diving into those chords. Going, okay, I've got 7 chords. I'm going to leave out the flat 5 because I don't even know what that's about or what that's doing. And it's probably not going to make a whole lot of sense in your jam at this point. That leaves you with 6 chords. That's not many. You want to see an example? Go look up Let It Be. Look up Mr. Jones by Counting Crows. Look at the chords in it. C, F, G, A minor, D minor. It's a song in the key of C. Technically, I know the verse is in A minor. We haven't got to A minor keys yet, but you can think of the song as being in C. Okay, so now you probably think, well, what? Do I just randomly hit at those chords? A very simple way to approach it is to say, if I'm in the key of C, start on C, go out for a little bit, come back to C. Go out for a little bit, come back to C. Maybe then go to A minor. Use that as the basis for what you're doing. Go out to a few chords, come back to A minor, go out for a few chords, come back to A minor, but always wind up back at C. Hitting the root note of the key you're in is what they call resolving. I'm going to grab a guitar and come back to this because best way to understand it. Okay, I've taken the bold move here of not plugging the guitar in. I think I'm going to get enough through the microphone for this to make sense. So should be able to hear that pretty well, I reckon. So if you're in C, we've got C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, the chord we won't care about, B minor flat 5, and then back to C, like that. So what I mean is, if you're in C, just start on C. Go to another chord or two, like F, A minor, G, but back to C. See how you can finish the song on C. If you finish on the song, you're playing in C, and you finish on another chord, see you're left hanging out there like, what? You need to hear that finishing. That's what they call resolving. It's not just the very end of the song. Resolving can occur a lot of times within just the simple chord progression. So if you went C to E minor to F to G, you hear at this point a little resolve back to C, and you can repeat that. You come up with a progression, repeat it. And there you go. You're jamming in C, and if you know your scale, then you've got your, that's just your, whoops, that's your C major scale. So it's the place for your melody and all the rest of it. So hopefully now you'll be jamming in C. I think that's a good wrap up for now. You've got your, I would go back and watch the first lesson 1 again, or maybe not lesson 1, if you already know all notes in music. Watch lesson 2 to get all your notes and keys. Watch this lesson, watch them over and over. My belief is repetition of the same simple concept until it becomes boring and automatic and subconscious to you is the way to get yourself really good, to move on to the next bit, really good with understanding. The next thing we're going to do is going to be heaps of fun. We're going to write a song, write your first song, and that's going to be cool. So thanks for hanging in there. Any questions, leave them in the comments below. That's how you get your chords and keys. Now you know your notes and keys. Go away and jam.